Good day, everyone. Today, I will discuss two pressing issues in language assessment within Malaysian secondary school ESL classrooms. These issues are critical as Malaysia implements the CEFR aligned classroom-based assessment (CBA) system to improve English proficiency among students. The two main concerns I will focus on are the low level of language assessment literacy among ESL teachers and the challenges in assessing oral proficiency effectively. In each issue, I will explain the current situation, the implications, as well as the recommendations for enhancing assessment practices. First issue, low language assessment literacy among Malaysian ESL teachers. Definition and importance. Language assessment literacy (LAL) refers to teachers' knowledge, skills, and understanding necessary to design, implement, and interpret language assessments effectively. It is essential for accurate measurement of students' language abilities and for supporting their learning progress. Studies reveal that many Malaysian secondary ESL teachers lack sufficient LAL to implement CFR aligned CBA effectively. Teachers often struggle with understanding key assessment concepts such as reliability, validity, formative versus summative assessment, and how to construct appropriate assessment instruments. There are four key problems when it comes to language assessment. Firstly, teachers have limited knowledge of assessment principles and practices, resulting in poor assessment design and implementation. Second, many teachers tend to rely on exam-oriented assessments rather than formative assessments that support learning. Third, there is a tendency to falsify or inflate student mastery levels to meet administrative requirements or standards, indicating a misunderstanding of assessment purposes. And last but not least, teachers often feel overwhelmed by workload and lack sufficient training and support to improve their assessment skills. Implications. Without adequate LAL, teachers cannot accurately assess students' language skills, which undermines the goals of CEFR aligned CBA. It also be related to where students' true language abilities may be misrepresented and their learning needs may not be properly addressed. And lastly, the gap between policy intentions and classroom realities widens, affecting overall education quality. What would be the recommendation in these first issues? Firstly, increase targeted professional development and training focus on language assessment literacy. Secondly, reduce teachers' administrative workload to allow more time for meaningful assessment practices. And last but not least, provide ongoing support and resources to help teachers master formative and summative assessment methods aligned with CFR standards. The second issue I will talk about is challenges in assessing oral proficiency in the ESL classroom. What is the importance? Oral proficiency is a fundamental skill for effective communication and is a key competency emphasized in Malaysia's ESL curriculum and CEFR work. However, it remains one of the most difficult skills to assess accurately in classroom settings. What are the challenges faced by the teachers? Firstly, heavy reliance on summative, standardized tests that focus mainly on reading and writing skills to neglect of speaking, and listening skills. Other than that, teachers report difficulties in designing valid and reliable oral assessment tasks that reflect authentic communication. Many teachers also lack clear guidelines, training, and resources specifically for oral proficiency assessment. On top of that, large class sizes and time constraints further limit teachers' ability to conduct thorough oral assessments. Not to forget, ineffective professional development programs fail to equip teachers with practical skills for formative oral assessment. Consequences of poor oral assessment. Students often perform poorly in speaking skills despite years of English education. Oral proficiency remains underassessed, which contradicts the communicative language teaching approach promoted by the curriculum. And lastly, teachers feel unprepared and lack confidence in assessing speaking skills, affecting the quality of feedback and student learning. Recommendations for oral assessment. Provide specialist practical training focused on oral proficiency assessment techniques tailored to Malaysian classroom context. Secondly, develop clear, user-friendly guidelines and assessment rubrics for speaking tasks. Thirdly, allocate resources and adjust policies to accommodate smaller groups or more time for oral assessments. And lastly, encourage more formative assessments of speaking to support and monitor students' progress continuously. In conclusion, the two critical issues in language assessment in Malaysian secondary ESL classrooms are the low language assessment literacy among teachers and the significant challenges in assessing oral proficiency effectively. Addressing these concerns requires concerted efforts from the Ministry of Education, school administrators, and teacher educators to provide comprehensive training, reduce workload, and supply adequate resources. Only then can the goals of CEFR aligned classroom-based assessment CBA be fully realized, ensuring that Malaysian students develop balanced and authentic English language skills. Thank you for your attention. This is the end of my presentation. That's all. Thank you.